Okay, Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi, selamat siang to Azzalea, Adelia and anyone who's watching the video. So tujuan coach buat video ni adalah untuk analyse game Azzalea lah yang lawan dengan this particular game nama Najla kat Lichess kan. So this is the only game that I have for now. So I'm gonna look through the game and then I'm gonna look through Adelia game sekali yang main dekat Puncak Alam tu. Just for a quick recap apa yang korang dah main, apa yang kita boleh belajar lah. So the first game is Adelia main putih lawan Najla main hitam. So game goes D4, D5, C4, E5. So this I don't know what the Alban counter gambit kot nama dia. Alban counter gambit. So tak sure Najla ni, this particular girl ni tahu ke tak opening ni, dia belajar ke tak. But Azzalea played the best move lah. Okay, just take the pawn. And then sini, as far as I know, the move is actually D4 is to get control of this square. So knight tak boleh pergi sini kan. Itu idea dia lah. And then this pawn will be under attack. Queen sini and queen sini. Probably dia akan flank itu macam ni lah. Ataupun dia main macam ni. Knight sini, knight sini, queen sini and try to attack the pawn. If you push the pawn to F4, then this will be a weak square for black to use his knight on. Probably he'll play something like this. Okay, so to generally idea untuk Alban counter gambit lah. It is not that important to know the names and these ideas, tapi it's something that nice to have kalau kita ada a basic atau prior understanding to the opening. Tapi dia main bishop b4, which is kind of weird. I don't know why. Tak faham lah kenapa. Coach sebenarnya tak faham lah kenapa. I disagree with this move. I prefer d4. That's the point of playing the gambit, is to push the pawn forward, get some space at the price of one pawn. So bishop d2, betul. Okay. Then knight c6 pun tak faham juga. I would play take. Or simply take. Okay. And then here, just take here ke. Get back the pawn kan. Position probably equal macam ni. Tapi dia tak, dia main knight c6, more probably nak kejar development. So ini adalah masalah kalau kita main opening yang bukan mainstream tau, bukan main line of the opening lah. Okay, all this sub line kan, you need to have a set of good understanding of the position before you play all this sub line punya opening. So memang kalau kita menang because kita tangkap dan kita we capture we caught our opponent off guard tu memang kita best lah. Tapi for my experience, most of the time kita akan perangkap diri sendiri. We get ourselves caught off guard. So this is like normal game nak sebenarnya macam tak apa tepat lah. And Azzalea played very well, just simply capture the pawn macam ni. Okay, then what did she play? She played knight takes b5. She played tak, Azzalea main bishop takes ni. Oh, Azzalea main apa? Azzalea tak makan. Azzalea main ni. Okay, I would simply take the pawn. I would simply take the pawn and then because kita nak develop macam biasa. You want to solve the problem with the pawn. And kita develop macam biasa. Dia makan and another development comes in and you shouldn't have any problem lah. I don't think they can capture this one because of this one. And if you capture this one, I'm going to capture the queen. Okay, queen's better. Sorry, because you cannot capture this pawn. Ni, queen is under attack. You have no time to capture like this. So the pawn is safe. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Coach yakin dan coach punya pemahaman. So bishop takes b4. Knight takes b4. A3. Okay, so far so good. Then just take the pawn. Okay, this one you up by 2 pawns and center pawn lagi, so it's very crushing lah. Sejujurnya masa coach tengok game ni tadi, I don't think I should analyse much because you have a very crushing position. Ini position ni sangat-sangat crushing for white lah. Tak payah apa bagi Fatimah main pun dia boleh menang kan. Very very easy game, no? Bagi PP sikit. So I wouldn't go more into this game because it's menang sebab Belanda daripada pihak lawan, dan Belanda tu berlaku pada awal permainan with a central control and a free piece. Your king is actually safe kat sini pun sebenarnya, tak ada masalah pun. Spring ruin and it's very safe and secure for you. Okay, so nothing much. Okay, moving on to the second game. Okay, second game ni tadi coach tengok tadi. Okay, so kita patah balik ke first ni. Okay, so d4, so d5, okay, c3. Okay, now you probably want to play your favorite opening, the Stonewall or something like that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with playing Stonewall. Cumanya at your level, at level Azzalea ni, I think you should add more to your repertoire. And your repertoire, your opening preparation tu mesti ada satu opening yang mainline yang berdasarkan proper understanding. Macam ni, Stonewall pun, don't get me wrong, Stonewall pun okay. It has a proper understanding, tapi it creates one problem which if you don't have enough capacity, you won't be able to solve it, which is the problem with the bishop. It is the bad bishop. Ni ada bad bishop. Okay, you can play with the bad bishop, but I wouldn't recommend it kepada player yang rising star macam Azzalea dengan Adelia, Adina semua lah, because you can play it tapi it doesn't follow fundamentals tau. Fundamental kita adalah we don't want a bad bishop, so if you keep on playing with this, you will get comfortable having a bad bishop. Itu yang kita nak macam remove lah kan, kita nak cantas masalah tu before you get comfortable. Kata saya main ni pun saya menang enggak, ya, tapi bila kita tengok kalau game tu is won because of blunder ke, because of, it's not because of you played good judgment, it's because your opponent made a mistake. Okay, so kita tak nak bad bishop. This is the problem with Stonewall. Usually people, I've seen like my teachers, my coaches play something along this line. Okay, like for example, dia main macam lebih kurang macam lah, and then dia akan tukar bishop dengan bishop ni, because logically if we have a bad bishop, the counterpart is a good bishop. Kalau bishop warna putih kita, like square bishop kita bad bishop, the counterpart like square bishop dia mesti adalah good bishop. So we actually want to trade it like this, something like that. The idea selalu pakai dekat dalam opening macam French, make the same, they use the same idea, b6, bishop a6. Okay, so knight f6, and then she really pounds on knight e5. Okay, and then c6. Okay, now here kat sini selalu yang game ni macam lama sikit lah kita nak kena cerita, sebab ada satu benda yang coach tekankan kat semua orang tau. Coach perasan Azhar pun ada this one tiny problem tau, iaitu bila main you guys don't have what we call a pawn break. Okay, the definition of pawn break is when you ajak orang selalu orang kampung per se, orang yang bahasa layman term adalah lagakan pawn ataupun koyakkan pawn. Okay, they all have the same meaning. Okay, different words but the same meaning, iaitu we want to initiate an exchange of pawns. Okay, so here c5 will be the best move. Okay, we want to initiate the exchange of pawns. Now, why? The question is why we want to initiate an exchange of pawns. Now you have to remember, pawns ni adalah skeleton. Dia adalah ibarat dinding. Yang mana when you set up this kind of stone wall dinding kan, then your pieces will navigate behind the dinding. Okay, but you must remember that it is a game of war. So bila dah deploy your army, semua pieces dah develop, and then you must attack the opponent, but you have your dinding. Okay, the wall, your very wall is in front of you. Okay, stopping your pieces from penetrating or invading the opponent's camp. So that's why kita ada pawn break kat sini lah. Tujuannya adalah, contoh paling senang, kalau kita makan, then kita ada c-file untuk piece kita masuk. Okay, we have our queen, we have our rook. We probably can put our knight somewhere like here, because we already have control the c-file. Macam tu. Okay, and number two is of course to create weaknesses lah. Kalau ni tak nampak, tak ketara sangat, but the point is that kalau kita makan, probably jam ni dah jadi weak, because the pawn no longer defend this one. Kalau dia push, then dark square jadi weak. Okay, kalau kita makan, dia makan, then this becomes a weak pawn, because no pawn is defending anymore. If you push it like this, then this square becomes weak, sebab tak ada pawn jaga dah, dark square becomes weak. So this is the understanding yang coach memang tekankan kat semua student lah, iaitu kita mesti ada what we call a pawn break. Okay, kita nak main tutup. Kalau kita tutup, then your pieces terperangkap at your house, the opponent piece terperangkap kat her house, and then draw. And then bila opponent hilang sabar, opponent try to do something funny because they want to attack kan, they sacrifice a knight kan, then we won. Kita tak, it's okay to menang macam tu, tapi my student, I want them to push further, I want to become better than that. So you should try to outsmart your opponent. Okay, try to get a better position, and to get a better position, number one is central control, number two is rapid development, number three make sure our king is safe, and number four is we must have a pawn break. Okay, kita pawn break, macam ni. Okay, these are the two pawn breaks that you have. Now which side do we need to do the pawn break? The side that we want to attack. Okay, now on this part I would say c5. I wouldn't say here because your king will be here. So pushing g5 would be like a very, very, very risky move. It's okay, it can be played, but it's risky in my opinion. I would say c5 is the best move here. Just breaking kat sini. Okay, plus you can push the bishop around. Kalau dia main sini, kita boleh main sini. Kalau dia main sini, kita mungkin boleh main something along this line. Kalau kita nak, dan kita break kat sini pula. This is the point of break. Okay, the point is that kalau kita tolak sini, dan katalah kita main, let's say, kata ini random move tau. It's not really a good move tau. Okay, sini betul, dia main sini nak developkan, kita makan, then this is the weakness. That's it just now. You open a line, okay? You open a line for your rooks. Okay, you open a line for your queens. And you have a weakness for you to attack, which is this one. Okay. Hasil daripada pawn break tu, awak ada laluan untuk rook ke sini, awak ada laluan untuk queen masuk. Sebab tadi c pawn kat sini kan, the c pawn was here just now. The queen cannot come out kan, so c5 have been pushed. Okay, and then because of your c4 then b5 before you break dekat c3, then the c3 pawn or the c3 square itself becomes weak and it will be a target of your attack. So tu tujuan lah. Of course, these moves are not the right move. It is not the correct move. It's just to give you an idea. Okay, kenapa kita buat pawn break? Kita nak buka laluan dan kita nak create weakness untuk kita attack. Okay, so c6 it does nothing, none of that. It's just secure d5, which is already secure in itself. You don't need to secure it anymore. Okay, yeah, I would say that c5 kat sini lah. Then both side castle and then rook f3. So this is a standard SOP untuk stonewall. Dia main sini, lepas tu dia try bring the queen, queen sini, then try to destroy this knight and then checkmate dekat h5. Standard lah tu. Okay, so knight b7, rook h3, g6, and then knight d2. Okay, and then knight d2. Kemudian knight takes c5. Okay, this one is something which I would recommend lah. Okay, because what would I recommend here? Let me think. c5, yeah. Again, c5. I would say c5, yeah. I would say c5, yeah. Sebab kita nak break, we want to attack, we want to do something. Okay, kalau kita break, and then we might have queen here, attack here. And then kalau c6, then again kita drop the queen, dan kita ada b5, b4 tu kan. Something like this, and then dia main macam ni. Makan. Dia just silly move sini, and then kita boleh drop back sini, dan kita boleh try to play b5, b4 attack ni pula. Kan kita ada minority attack, Azzalea, Adelia would know. Okay, Adelia dengan Adina would know. Attack this one. Okay, it's activity, something that you must do. Okay, bishop takes c5, it does nothing except you remove the strong knight. Yes, I agree. Kita remove knight yang kuat, but you also remove our good bishop. So you are left with a very bad bishop. So the makan f takes c5, you left with a very bad bishop. Bishop tak ada kerja. Yeah, bishop tak ada kerja. Okay, but I would say that it's not that bad because dia pun ada bishop tak ada kerja. Okay. And this knight tak ada kerja, this knight pun tak ada kerja. This knight okay, this knight pun okay. So the rooks are better. This rook is better. Okay. But the problem is that dia ada satu space dan dia halau knight kita. Then how did you solve this? Knight e4, b1, the standard procedure. Main sini kan. Okay. And then you play knight g5. It's b6. Knight f3. Okay. And then knight g5. Okay. This one I don't understand why was this played. I mean, the knight was put on this square. Kan, the queen is already defending this one. So kalau dia makan pun, the knight cannot jump on d5. The queen cannot go here because this queen is defending it. So technically, this one is inaccessible. This one is inaccessible. This one is inaccessible. So the squares around your king is pretty safe for now. Okay, white herself must initiate the pawn break to generate the attack. Okay, tapi this bishop pun tak soft. I would say white should play b3 and then bishop here kot. Just give the bishop awak ni tak boleh sebab ada bishop ni kan. Tapi awak main knight g5, which is weird lah. If we were in front, kalau kita tengah kelas, I would heavily tanya kenapa main knight g5 kat sini. Because why? Because you are giving her the option to improve the bishop. Now the bishop ada kerja. The bishop is free now. Now she has a free pass of doing a pawn break in the center. This square is supposed to be secure. Now remember, bila kita main stonewall, sebenarnya kita fight for this square. This square sepatutnya kita punya, it belongs to the person who does the stonewall. That's the reason why you put these 2 pawns kat sini to grab this square. Okay, that's the reason why you play stonewall at the cost of this bishop being passive. Itu understanding stonewall lah. But if when you play knight g5, it defeats the whole purpose. You lost the main reason of stonewall. I'm pretty sure if you plug this inside the engine would disagree with knight g5. The engine would like macam because you give away this square. The bishop is looking at the queen, so it's a free pawn break. Not only the free pawn break dekat center, and you give the fella, the girl a chance to actually improve the bishop. So itu macam banyak cons lah. Okay, so the queen drops, then this pawn break happens. Okay, and then the bishop is free now, and the bishop can do activities. Okay, so I believe that this is where white is starting to be better. Sebab bishop ni ada activity. Bishop ni is a good bishop, can be used in any game. Tapi knight ni tak boleh keluar. Then remember, tengok if you pay attention, knight tak ada good square, and bishop tak ada good square. So white is better here. Okay, because of knight g5 mistake. Okay, so queen g3. And then queen b4, this is a good move. Okay, queen g3 pun is not good because of this fork lah. Sepatutnya main c3, securing. Sini the best move logically, if you think logically, it would be like something like c3, I think. First, it stops queen b4. Second, it actually stops this file from being invaded. So black has a lot of things to do. Dia kena main macam ni ke ataupun main macam ni, kena undeveloped bishop, trade the bishop, because this is a bad bishop. It does nothing. It contributes 0 to the position. Okay, so tapi kat sini alhamdulillah your opponent made a mistake, b3, and then kat sini kan you fork and then b3, and then this is a win lah, because there's a simple capture of forking the king and the rook. Okay, so dekat daripada game ni kita belajar yang you must have a pawn break. You didn't do any pawn breaks. Mesti kena ada pawn break. Whether you like it or not, you must have a pawn break. Okay, so the pawn breaks sebab dia buka laluan untuk menyerang. Pawn break is so important that if you go to any title player and you say that I have a position, material is equal, space is equal, tapi saya tak ada pawn break, opponent ada pawn break, the title player would surely say you are playing a losing game because you don't have activity, you cannot attack anything, but your opponent have all the time to maneuver pieces and then break, pecahkan dinding and then serang awak. Okay, so itu untuk Azzalea lah. When you play next time, make sure you have a pawn break. I wouldn't touch much on the opening because opening is very personal, and if you know me, I don't really teach opening much, although I have the knowledge. Sebab opening ni, to me, once you reach FIDE rating 1800 and above, and then you would be ready to have a proper repertoire. Sebab repertoire ni is a word for opening preparation. You must have a very strong fundamental, opening fundamental, mini game fundamental. Kena faham sangat mendalam. Kena betul-betul mahir lah sangat. And then baru kita sentuh opening. Sebab bila belajar opening, we don't have time to explain, oh bishop ni jalan sini sebab remember it's a bad bishop against good bishop. We don't have time to explain that. So kena mahirkan dulu, and then opening tu kita pergi, kita dah cakap this is a French bishop. Bila kita cakap among coaches and above ni, kita orang yang coaches and lagi terror ni, bila kita kata oh this is a French bishop, semua orang tahu we are referring to a bad bishop, even though opening tu opening karukan, even though opening tu opening Sicily for example. If we say we have a French bishop, so orang faham oh this is a bad bishop, we must solve this bishop. That kind of understanding awak kena ada dulu, and then baru kita boleh belajar opening. Okay, so untuk Azzalea, one thing that I would really want to push is you can play whatever opening you want. Okay, but remember you must find pawn breaks. You must have a pawn break. Okay, pawn break adalah initiate an exchange of pawns, preferably at the center of the board, so that you can open lines for your pieces to come in and you create weaknesses for you to attack. Okay, now last game will be Adel's game. Adel's game ni yang kita main tadi lah, just nak touch something very quickly. Okay, so Adel kita main macam ni. This is called the Grunfeld. Okay, aku saja pilih opening ni because if you Adelia tak pernah tengok kan, tapi Adelia play the best move. Okay, Adelia play the best move main line. Kenapa? Sebab Adelia punya understanding dah betul-betul mantap. Adelia tahu yang when opponent left e4, you must grab e4. Dia tahu benda tu. So Adele ada some sort of advantage per se among peers, amongst level-level macam budak-budak sekolah rendah ni. Okay, this position is a good position for white. If you climb the ladder higher, let's say if you play against 2000 rated player, we would say this is equal. Okay, equal. Sebab black ada activity. So black play bishop a7, is trying to pierce open this diagonal lah, nak buka diagonal macam kita buka plastik kopuk. Okay, so knight f3. Okay, knight f3 ni memerlukan kefahaman yang sangat mendalam. Okay, it's okay. This is some sort of a theoretical mistake if you ask me. Okay, I would say kat sini tak ada masalah. So kita main bishop sini dulu. Kita nak castle sini. That's one thing for sure. You the castle here, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, tapi kita tak nak naik kat sini. The push, then it is still defended. It is under attack, so you can play something like this. Okay, kenapa? Sebab kita nak elakkan pin ni. Yes, I know that sebelum ni kau cakap kalau dia main flank keto, he wouldn't pin. Tapi bila kita main this kind of position, knight f3, this bishop is not trying to pin the knight. The bishop just want to capture the knight and then undermine d4. d4 tu under attack lah, under fire. If f3 is the best defender, so kita remove defender dia. Okay, so I would say that here the best move will be bishop c4. Okay, and then when castle, we put the knight here, so that when this bishop comes to capture the knight, we can play here. Let's say for example here, waste of time here, then patah balik, then we might be something like that. We are securing d4. c5 kamu tak ada masalah, boleh tak dimakan sebab dia attack in line. Kita castle, no problem. Then d4 is secure. Okay, and then next step is to put the rook on the open file, attack this one. Okay. Okay, that's how we understand the position. Now f3 is a small positional inaccuracy, tapi macam coach cakap kat semua student coach, a small inaccuracy is enough. Okay, for experience, not strong player, experienced player. Like I'm 40. Wait, how old am I? 43. Okay, 43 years old. I've been playing chess since I was your age, so I'm pretty sure I have not as much experience as other players, but enough experience to survive. Okay, with that kind of experience, I know that this is an inaccuracy, so I try to punish it. Okay, by castling first, because king safety precedes everything. Okay, Adele kena ingat, king safety precedes everything. You must make sure your king is safe at all times. Okay, so bishop f4. Now this one yang coach nak sebut. Okay, now the opponent has already castled. Okay, kan coach cakap kan, bila opponent castle, kita kena make sure kita pun boleh castling. Kita kena make sure kita boleh castling. Kita nak delay, it's up to you. Tapi kena make sure that if you want to castle, you can castle right immediately. Right now, you can't castle. You cannot castle because of the bishop. So I would say this is wrong to put the bishop out first. You should bring this bishop out first. Sebab awak nak castle. Sebab opponent dah castle. Okay, this is the basic understanding yang coach selalu tekankan to make sure that you boleh castle. Bishop f4, then you lack one move to castle lambat. So c5 comes in. Bila coach dah castle, awak belum castle, I want to break open the center because I want my pieces to flood, masuk, d5 masuk semua and try to attack. Okay, so enable bishop c4. Okay, and then because you haven't castled yet, so I know that this is under pressure, so bishop c4. Again, this is under pressure right now. Okay, now believe it or not, the best way to simply castle. I think simply castle. Coach rasa castle je. So kalau kita makan dan kita boleh main kalau dia makan sini, kita ada rook sini. Rook sini. Kalau dia makan pakai queen, kita ada rook sini. And next move will be rook here, and then you have activity. And look at the board. The board is open, no center pawn, and you have the two bishops. Okay, so advantage awak lah. Okay, tapi you lost a pawn. So the price you have to pay for the inaccuracy. Okay, so I think that's all that untuk Adele punya position lah. The rest is because you get your king stuck in the center. You see, king stuck in the center. So jadi masalah berlaku. Okay, but one thing I want to puji is that this move. Okay, this move coach tak nampak. Coach tak terfikir macam, dia boleh makan, we check ah. Ni silap coach. You see, even if you are a coach, if you don't do CTI, okay, I admit I was overconfident. I thought that ni king kat center, my queen is in the center, I just bring my rook inside, rook to the open file, I just bring my rook here, I would be able to win this game. I went overconfidence, and look what happened. Okay, you can grab back a pawn. So very dangerous this overconfidence, and very dangerous kalau kita abaikan CTI. I admit, masa ni coach dapat CTI. Coach fikir aku nak cepat-cepat menang because I'm sleepy. Okay, so look what happened, you can grab a point. Okay, so kat sini I try to, masa coach kena, coach cuba I regroup back my emotion, coach control back my emotion, coach try to think logical, what can I do now, so I can see the pin. So the whole game play after this is just to take advantage of the pin. Coach cuma take advantage of the pin je. Coach nak make sure that awak tak sempat nak unpin. I think here would be suffice kot to unpin. Sini, I think sini kot, tapi you have to give up back this point lah. I think so. Coach tak kira sangat ni. Sebab kalau makan queen free. Kalau dia makan, dia sure can drop back. Then I will get back this point lah. I will get back this point. But you can get this point. Kan? So itu yang coach nampak lah. Okay, so Adel, you played very well. Okay, I think you have improved significantly, exponentially, very good. I'm very proud of you. Okay, of course there's inaccuracy yang coach cakap ni, it comes with experience. Okay, Adel jangan tak perlu risau sangat, just continue to play, continue to learn, and inshallah you will become strong one day. Okay, so I think that's the end of the video. If any of you, Azzalea, Adel or Azhar ke Adina watching the video have any question, just text me dekat Telegram ataupun WhatsApp. Okay, anyway, thank you so much for viewing. Sorry kalau dia membosankan. Coach ni bukan jenis yang suka buat video, buat kelakar video kan. Coach boleh bercakap dengan orang. I can crack jokes in front of people. I cannot crack jokes in front of screen because it feels like I'm talking to a wall. Okay, so any question, just text me, okay? Or ask your mom to text me. Right? Thank you so much for watching the video, and semoga Allah berserta dengan kita semua. Right? Bye. Assalamualaikum.